Hey students, good morning. Welcome to this video session. My name is Samuel Chukwuemeka, as usual. In this video session, we shall translate word problems on 3x3 linear systems. Please, it is highly recommended that you view the prerequisite video on word problems on 2x2 linear systems. It is highly recommended that you view that video before you view this one. So here we shall just write the English into math. We are not going to solve and check it, but you may solve and check it if you wish. Yeah, but our main focus will be to translate the word problems. In other words, write it from English to mathematics. Question 1. Godwin Constructions is building 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom units in their new apartment complex. The number of 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom units is equal to the number of 1-bedroom units. The number of 1-bedroom units is 3 times the number of 3-bedroom units. A total of 144 units is to be built. Find the number of 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom units to be built. So, if we look at this question, we have 3 things we are talking about here. We have a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom units. So these are the 3 variables. We have to assign variables because what did they ask us? They told us to find the number of 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom units. So, and what we don't know, we assign variables. Okay, now so that's the first thing we do. Let the number of 1-bedroom units be x, the number of 2-bedroom units be y, and the number of 3-bedroom units to be z. Now we go to the next sentence here. It says the number of 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom units is equal to the number of 1-bedroom units. So that means that y plus z is equal to x. And it says here the number of 1-bedroom units is 3 times the number of 3-bedroom units. So that means that x is equal to 3 times z. That gives you equation 2. Then a total of 144 units is to be built. So the number of 1-bedroom plus the number of 2-bedroom plus the number of 3-bedroom units should give you 144, and that makes the equation 3. Question 2. The measure of the largest angle of a triangle is twice the measure of the smallest angle. The sum of the smallest angle and the largest angle is 5 times the other angle. Find the measure of each angle. So what are they asking us to find? The measure of each angle. A triangle, you know, we have a triangle, 3 angles. So here we have the largest angle, we have a smallest angle, and we have the other angle. So the same principle is what we use here. Let the smallest angle be x, let the other angle be y, and let the largest angle be z. Now, from our knowledge of geometry, we know that the sum of angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. So that gives you equation 1. It was not written in the question, but they expect you to know it from geometry. Now, the next thing is that largest angle is twice See the key word here, twice the measure of the smallest angle. So that means that z is equal to 2 times x. And then this sum of the smallest angle x and z and largest angle is 5 times the other angle. So x and z is 5 times y. That gives you your equation 3. Question 3. Alva invested in stocks, bonds, and loans. He had an annual return of 25% in stocks, 20% in bonds, and 30% in loans, which amounted to $3,000. His investment in loans was 10 times his investment in stocks, and the interest earned from his investment in loans was equal to the dividends he received from his investment in bonds. How much money did he invest in stocks, bonds, loans? As we mentioned in the previous video, 2x2 linear systems, sometimes you see this kind of question and you want to just quit, because it is too much and you want to quit. No, you don't do that. We have 3 things here, okay? We have stocks, we have bonds, and we have loans. So he made some investments in stocks, bonds, and loans. So what we have to do now, when we talk about making investment, we are talking about a principal sum of money. So that's the principal, the investment. And when we talk of the annual return, of course, this is the interest rate. The interest rate is 25% in stocks, 20% in bonds, and 30% in loans. Now, but when we talk of the annual return of 3,000, right? That's the interest. When we talk of the annual return, it means the interest, and then this percent here is the rate. So let's write this. Annual return means the same thing as the annual interest. And when we say annual means yearly. So they didn't give you the time here because they mentioned annual. That annual means yearly. So the time is 1 year. So annual return means annual interest. Investment means the principal. Then here they mention dividends. So you see, in a question they can kind of use 2 different words in a question, but it still means the same thing, right? This is the annual return, which is the interest, and they mention interest here, and then they mention dividends here. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. The interest means the same as dividends also. So this is the formula for simple interest: principal times rate times time. Let the investment in stocks be X, let the investment in bonds be Y, and let the investment in loans be Z. So we go to the stocks. If we go to the stocks, the principal is the X. Remember, they asked us for the investment. How much money did they invest? Stocks, bonds, loans. So we have to find a simple interest on the stocks. That gives you a 0.25x. Of course, annual means yearly, so time is 1 year. Simple interest on the bonds is 0.2y, as you can see here. Simple interest on the loans is 0.3z. So what do we do now first? We see that the annual interest is $3,000. So we have that 0.25x. This is the annual interest on the stocks. This is the annual interest or annual return or the dividends from the bonds. And this is the dividends from the loans. That gives you $3,000. Equation 1. The next one His investment in loans. Now, this is investment, not annual return. Return is the interest. But this is now the investment, so this is the principal. His investment in loans, which is Z, was 10 times his investment in stocks. So Z is 10 times X. Z is 10 times X. That gives you equation 2. You see that? And the interest earned from his investment in loans equal to the dividends he received from his investment in bonds. So interest is from loans is equal to interest from bonds. So 0.3z, because this is from loans, is equal to 0.2y. That gives you equation 3. Do you understand it? Question 4. An investment company has $125,000 earmarked for investment in stocks. To arrive at an acceptable overall level of risk, the management of the company has classified the stocks into 3 categories: high risk, medium risk, and low risk. So we have high risk stocks, medium risk stocks, and low risk stocks. The management estimates that high risk stocks will have a return rate of 25% per year, medium risk stocks 15% per year, and low risk stocks 5% per year. The members have decided that the investment in low risk stocks should be equal to 3 times. Okay, investment is the principal now, okay? Investment in low risk stocks should be equal to 3 times the sum of the investments in the stocks of the other 2 categories. So 3 times the sum of investments in stocks of the high risk and stocks of the medium risk. Determine how much the club should invest. So they're asking you for the principal, how much to invest. They're asking you for principal in each type of stock. If the investment goal is to have a return, of course, when we say return, is the annual interest, $12,000 per year, $12,000 per year on the total investment. Assume that all money available for investment is invested. So this is similar to what we just did. We know that x plus y plus z is 125,000. Now, but we have to define the variables first. Let the high risk investment in high risk stocks be x, investment in medium risk stocks be y, investment in low risk stocks be z. So of course, x plus y plus z will give us 125,000. That's equation 1, because they told us he has this money to invest. Now we have to find the interest on each of them. High risk stocks, we find the interest, or return. That's what they mean. If they say return or interest or dividends, is the same thing. So we find the interest on the high risk stocks, we find the interest on the medium risk stocks, and we find the interest on the low risk stocks. Okay, remember that this one, the investment in a low risk is 3 times the investment in the categories of the other stocks. Is right here. The investment in low risk stocks should be equal to 3 times the sum, 3 times the sum of the investments in the stocks of the other 2 categories. So that's why you have this. 3 times the sum of the investment in the other 2 categories. And the last one is that the return, okay, investment goal is to have a return of $12,000 per year. So you find the return means interest. So you find the interest from the high risk plus interest from the low risk. Interest from the high risk is this. interest from the high risk plus interest from the medium risk plus interest from the low risk will give you 12,000. And that becomes equation 3. Okay? Question 5. The perimeter of a triangle is 70 inches. The longest side is 4 inches less than the sum of the other two sides. 3 times the shortest side is 9 inches more than the longest side. Find the length of the 3 sides. So we kind of perimeter of a triangle. We have a longest side, medium side, and shortest side. So of course it's 70 inches. So perimeter means distance round, total distance round the triangle. So that means that x plus y plus z is 70. That gives you equation 1. Then it says that the longest side, which we designated as x, is 4 inches longest side, 4 inches less than the sum of the two other sides. So that means you add the two other sides minus 4. That gives you equation 2. And then 3 times the shortest side, 3 times the shortest side means equal to 9 inches more than the longest side. 3z will be 9 plus x. That gives you equation 3. Question 6. IFA Auto Sales has allocated $1.98 million to buy sedans, hybrids, and convertibles. Sedans cost $16,500 each. No. sedans cost $16,500 each. Hybrids cost $18,000 each, and convertibles cost $21,000 each. If IFA purchases twice as many sedans as hybrids, and the total number of cars to be purchased is 95, determine how many cars of each type will be purchased. Assume that the entire budget will be used. So I want you to pay attention here. Twice as many sedans as hybrids. Okay, meanwhile, this is the money he has. Cost. We have a cost. And then he has to buy sedans, hybrids, and convertibles. Sedans cost this. Sedans cost this each. Hybrids cost this amount each. And convertibles cost this amount each. Okay, there are 2 things in question here. He purchases twice as many sedans as hybrids. That's the number. But first of all, the cost of each, the cost of the sedans plus the cost of the hybrids plus the cost of the convertibles should give us $1.98 million, since he will use the entire budget. So we've seen cost. Then this sentence purchases twice as many sedans as hybrids. So that's number, tells us number. So we have cost and number. Okay, and then total number of cars to be purchased is 95. So we have 2 factors here, cost and number. Let the number of sedans be S, let the number of hybrids be H, and let the number of convertibles be C. Now, equation 1, cost. Let's deal with the cost. We don't know how many sedans, we don't know how many hybrids, we don't know how many convertibles, but we know that whatever amount he purchases, we have to multiply it by the cost of each. Okay, sedans cost $16,500 each, right? So if he had to purchase X number, that would be S number, that would be 16,500 S. Okay, hybrids cost $18,000 each. Assuming he wants to purchase 2 hybrids, how much will it cost him? It will be $36. Okay, and the rest of them. So you multiply it by the number, the cost by the number, because that's the entire amount this is budgeted for. So the number is S here times the cost, and then H times the cost of each, then the number of convertibles times the cost of each will be the amount of money you use to buy it. That's the equation 1. Then it tells you that twice as many. Please take note of this. He plans to buy twice as many sedans as hybrids. So that tells you that S is equal to 2H. Okay. For each sedan he will buy 2 hybrids. That's what it means. Twice as many sedans as hybrids means for each sedan he will buy 2 hybrids. For each sedan he will buy 2 hybrids. So that's what it means. Then the next one is now total number of cars to be purchased. S plus H plus C is 95. That gives you equation 3. Question 7. A random number of Americans eligible to vote in 2010 showed that 8% more people identify themselves as independents than as Republicans, and 6% fewer people identify themselves as Republicans than as Democrats. Of those sampled, 2% did not identify with any of the 3 categories. What percent of the people in the sample identify themselves with each of the 3 political affiliations? You look at this question, you know, I try to cover as many varieties of questions as possible. Yeah, you see several varieties of questions. That's something you have to embrace with mathematics. It has varieties of questions. If you look here, 2% did not identify. 2% did not identify with any 3. So that means that 98% could be independents, Republicans, or Democrats. So let the independents be I, let the Republicans be arrow, and let the Democrats be D, right? Percent of independents to be I, percent of Republicans to be arrow, percent of Democrats to be D. 2% did not identify, so that leaves you with 98% that identified. So I plus arrow plus D is 98. You could call it equation 1, or here is equation 3. It does not matter. Now it says here 8% more people identify themselves as independents than as Republicans, right? So that tells you that if you read this English, 8% more people identify themselves as independents than as Republicans. So that tells you that I will be what? 8 plus R. That tells you that the percent that identified as independents is 8 more than the people that identified as Republicans. So I is 8 plus R. Then it tells you here that 6% fewer people identify themselves as Republicans than as Democrats. Okay? That tells you that Republicans is Democrats minus 6. Because just like here, independence is 8% plus R. Here, Republicans will be 6%, D minus 6. Democrats minus 6. 6% fewer people. So that's R is equal to D minus 6. That gives you the second equation. Question 8. The music department at JSU, Jacksonville State University, we are conducting a symphony orchestra at Stone Center Auditorium. They charged $2 for staff, $5 for faculty, and $8 for the general public. Students get in free. The auditorium seats 1,000 people. The general public were half as many staff and faculty combined. They made a total of $5,550 from the event. How many staff, faculty, general public attended? So here we have they're asking us how many attended. So let the number of staff be X, let the number of faculty be Y, and let the number of general public be Z. We are talking about two things here also. What are they? Cost and number. Okay, for the cost, this is the cost. And then for the number, we have two things here for the number. Auditorium seats 1,000 people. So X plus Y plus Z will give us 1,000. Now, it also says here, general public, we are half as many staff and faculty combined. Remember in this one, twice as many. Do you see what was this? Twice as many. And we did that sedans was 2 times H. You see that? Now, if we come to twice, half as many, okay, we now see that the general public Z will be, remember it says half as many staff and faculty combined. So X plus Y. See that? Because when they said combined, that means the sum. So that gives you this. And when you do that, you get this equation 1, equation 2, and equation 3. Yeah, this is for the number and this is for the cost. Question 9. A box contains $12.50. $12.50 in nickels, dimes, and quarters. Nickels, dimes, quarters, and it contains $12.50. And it has a total of 80 coins. The sum of the numbers of nickels and dimes is 2 less than the numbers of quarters. How many coins of each kind are there? Right? Let the nickels be N, let the dimes be D, and let the quarters be Q. So, of course, two things here. We are talking of numbers, the number on the cost, right? The number and the monetary value. Number and monetary value. When we talk of the number, how many coins total? 80 coins. So N plus D plus Q is 80. That gives the equation 1. Then it says here, the numbers of nickels and dimes, so N plus D, is 2 less than the number of quarters. So N plus D is equal to Q minus 2. Then the monetary value. The monetary value is $12.50. So how do we get this? A nickel has a monetary value of 0.05, since a nickel is 5 cents. A dime is 10 cents, which has a monetary value of 0.1. And then a quarter is 25 cents, which has a monetary value of 0.25. So when you add everything up, it should give you 12.50, $12.50. That gives you equation 3. Do you understand? Question 10. In the 2008 Summer Olympics in Beijing, China, Russia earned 5 fewer gold medals than bronze. So we have 5 fewer gold medals than bronze. The number of silver medals earned was 35, less than twice the number of bronze medals. Altogether, she earned 72 medals. That's the total. How many of each kind of medal did she earn? So let the gold medal be G. Let the gold medal be G. Let the bronze medal be B. And let the silver medals be S. So G plus B plus S is 72. Right? G plus B plus S is 72. That's equation 3. And here it says that it earned 5 fewer gold medals than bronze. So that tells you that G, the number of gold medals is bronze minus 5. Okay? And 5 fewer gold medals than bronze. So the gold is B minus 5. And then it says silver earned was 35, less than twice the number of bronze. So 2B minus 35. Okay? Question 11. 1,000 adults aged 18 and older were asked to respond to a survey that asked whether they would help illegal immigrants in need. They would have to answer yes, no, or not sure. 350 of them answered no or not sure. The number that answered yes exceeded the number that answered no by 400. How many answered each of the responses? Please, as usual, when I do videos, I tell my students before I begin the next question, it is recommended that you pause it and try it on your own before you play it again. Yeah, it is recommended. So here it is 1,000 adults. So everybody that answered the survey, 1,000. Okay, now we have 3 categories. We have those that answered yes. We can designate them as, let the number that answered yes be X. Let the number that answered no be Y. Let the number that answered not sure be Z. When we say that 350 of them answered no or not sure, so that means that the number that answered no plus, remember this or, we treat this or like plus. That's what we treat it as. You know, you get to know several varieties, what they mean, what these English words mean. When we say 350 people answered no or not sure, we treat it as plus. Now, when we do sets later on in this course, when we do sets, we shall explain it more. So 350 of them answered no or not sure. So that means if we say this, let the number that answered yes be X, number that answered no be Y, and number that answered not sure be Z. That means that Y plus Z is 350. X plus Y plus Z is 1,000. Then the number that answered yes exceeded the number that answered no by 400. So X will be what? Y plus 400. There you go. Yeah. No or not sure is 350. That gives you equation 2. And then X will be Y plus 400. Or is interpreted as addition in this case. Question 12. Do you still remember the 3 R's in elementary education? Reading, writing, and arithmetic? The time to complete a certain task that involves the 3 R's for students A, B, C is noted in the table below. So student A takes 0.1 hour to complete a certain task in reading. Student C takes 0.3 hour to complete a certain task in arithmetic, and the rest of them, that is the interpretation. The 3 R's have a maximum of 35, 62.5, and 95 hours per week, respectively. I know some folks will say, that's a lot of hours per week. How many tasks of each of the 3 R's should be completed per week so that students A, B, and C are fully utilizing their time? They need to be doing some math rather than watching reality TV shows. Okay, now, so let's let's go ahead and do this. Let the number of 3 arrow tasks done by student A be X. Let that of student B be Y, and that of student C be Z. Now we have that for reading, we can see here 0.1x. You know, for student A, we say let it be x. Student B, let it be y. And student C, let it be z. So student A, 0.1x plus for reading. You know, we have to do that for reading, for writing, and for arithmetic. Remember, and this is the maximum hours, respectively. What does respectively mean, folks? What does respectively mean? It means that this is for reading, this is for writing, and this is for arithmetic. So when you have that, you have these equations right here. Do you understand? Question 13. A food is to be made from 3 ingredients. The mix must include 60% of the first and second ingredient. The second and third ingredients must be in the ratio of 4:3 by weight. How much of each ingredient is needed to make 750 grams of the food? This is another variety of question. Let's look at this for a moment. The mix must include 60% of the first and second ingredient. You know, now this is a food that will be that you have to mix the 3 ingredients to get the food. But that mix must have 60% of the first and second ingredient. Okay, so we are talking about 3 ingredients here. How much of each ingredient, which is 3? So let the first ingredient be x, let the second ingredient be y, and let the third ingredient be z. This first sentence must include 60% of the first and second ingredient. So that, if you look at this now, it kind of seems a little bit confusing. So why don't you paraphrase it, you know, as we discussed in the previous video on 2x2 linear systems. You can always paraphrase it to make sense to you. So we could say now that the first and second ingredient must be at least 60% of the mixture. All right, now we want to make how many now? How many? How much of the food do you want to make? 750 grams of the food. The first and second ingredient must account for 60% of the 750 grams. So you find 60% of 750 grams. You go ahead and find it. 60% of 750 grams. You do that. 750 grams. 0 will cancel 0 here. This 0 will cancel this 0 here. 6 times 5 is 30. 0 carry 3. 6 times 7 is 42. Plus 3, 45. You see that x plus y must be 450 grams. That gives the equation 1. Then the second and third ingredients must be in the ratio of 4:3. So second ingredient we say is y over, when you talk of ratio, it's like fraction. Second and third ingredients, y over z, must be in the ratio of 4:3, 4 over 3. So that gives you that 3y is equal to 4z. Then x plus y plus z should be 750 grams. Okay, so the amount of ingredient for the first one be x, amount of ingredient for the second one, amount of the second ingredient be y, and then amount of the third ingredient be z. And x plus y plus z should give you 750 grams. So when you do that, you kind of have it here. 60% of 750 is 450. You kind of have it here. Last but not the least, question 14. How many ounces of 4% hydrochloric acid, HCl, 24% hydrochloric acid, and water must be combined to get 20 ounces of solution that is 7% hydrochloric acid. If the amount of water used must be equal to the total amount of the other two solutions. So we are talking of two things here. You mix something that you mix 4% of HCl, hydrochloric acid, HCl, right? It's an acid and it's a strong acid. You mix 4% HCl plus 24% HCl plus water. Of course, water is 0 HCl. Water is neutral. It is not an acid. It is not a base. It's neutral. So water is 0% HCl. You mix these three things and you want to get 7% HCl. And then you want to get, so this for the concentration. You want the concentration to be 7%. Of course, you can't kind of do arithmetic addition, 4% plus 24%. You don't expect it like that, no. Just think of it as like when you mix alcohol with water, right? If you have a 40% volume alcohol and then you add some water in it, that's to dilute it. There will still alcohol though, you know, but the concentration will no longer be 40%. It will be something lower depending on the amount of water that you add. You might need to view my videos on mixtures so that you understand what I just explained. When you have a 40% alcohol solution and you dilute it with water, it will just reduce, it is still an alcohol, but it will reduce the concentration. The final concentration of the mixture will be lower than 40%. So you have a 4% and 24% and you want to get 7%. That's concentration. Now, amount, you see you have 20 ounces. So they're asking you for how many ounces. So let the ounces for, let the amount or the volume of 4% HCl be X. Let that of 24% HCl be Y. And let that of water be Z. You now know that X plus Y plus Z, you want to get 20 ounces of the solution. Then you also have that amount of water, Z, must be equal to total amount of the other two solutions, X plus Y. So you have it like this, equation 1 and equation 2 for the volume. Now let's look at the concentration. If you view my, I explained this concept in a 2x2 linear systems, and I asked you to view the video on mixtures to have a better understanding. When we look at dilute, this is the second method. We have another method to solve this kind of problems, and I explained that method on the video on mixtures under linear systems. Under linear equations. Under linear equations mixtures, I explained a method you can use there to solve that. But this is another method here to write it as linear systems. You see that when you 4% HCl plus the solution, which is the X, plus the volume, the amount, okay? And this is kind of the formula in chemistry that we are talking about here, that the number of moles is concentration times volume. This is from the formula in chemistry that we are kind of using. So if you multiply the concentration times the volume, 4% times the volume 4x plus 24% times the volume y, okay, 24y plus 0%, because water is 0%, 0% HCl. So plus 0% times Z. So 0 times Z is 0Z. We don't need to add that. So that will give you what now? 7% times 20, which is 140. And that is this. 4x plus 24y equal to 140. Now, if water had a percent, okay, assuming this was a 35% HCl, we will also add to it. Okay, it would then be 35Z. Okay, but water is 0% HCl. That's why. All right, folks, we're gonna stop here for today. These are the references. We will stop here for today. And if you have any questions, please ask. I will post this video on my website as usual. And of course, the notes are on my website. Thank you for listening. And you have a great day.